Hello everyone, it's I again. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a health issue. I got about 2 concussions. One they graded moderate to serious, the other one mild to moderate in a very short period of time. For anyone who's had concussions, this was within 2 weeks. So I'm working on everything else, and the first one I'm out, and that's about a 3-day period where I can't even move properly. And I'm trying to get my wits back, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to get going about 5-6 days later, and I'm down again. So, yay! I understand I'm a little bit behind. We're going to try and work on it. I'm still holding to that 15. At the end, we may just have a dump at the last minute. This is going to get rough, so still not giving up on it, but we're going to have a bit of a rough ride. So if you like a lot of stuff, you're going to be in luck. If you think that this is going to be easy, you're funny. Anyway, here's the crew. This is going to be Virtual World Close Combat Mage. The author is Butterfly Blue. Translators, because I didn't go over translators and editor, and in this case, since it is Gravity Tales, translators because they're going from one language to another, and this is kind of a written form. That takes a lot of work. I know a couple languages. Sometimes the languages they're hard to translate just on form. So you got to give them a little bit of a prop there, and editors as well. So translators, Urba Giraffe and Salacion. If I butcher anybody's name, I'm sorry already. Editor, Mugi. So once again, first chapter. If you enjoy it, let me know, and we'll get going from there. The sky was gloomy in Yunduan City, and it drizzled from time to time. Somewhere near the spawn point of new players within the city's Mage Academy, 2 new NPC merchants were being surrounded by a dense crowd. One exclusively sold brooms, while the other sold only black-rimmed glasses. The Harry Potter series popularized the medieval concept of magic so much that even the latest VR MMORPG masterpiece, Parallel Worlds, could not escape from its influence. And by adopting the standard character designs from Harry Potter, the 2 NPCs were able to rip off new players twice. New players would receive 50 copper coins from the system at the start of the game. However, the 2 useless pieces of equipment were being sold at the price of 125 copper coins each, totaling to 250 copper coins together. Despite this, the interest of the players for the items did not diminish. They would arduously work for an entire day just for this sum. The entire Mage Academy was filled with players who were roaming about, dragging their long robes, with black-rimmed glasses on their faces and brooms in their hands. And in this lively atmosphere, there was one person in a bad mood. Gouffet, in his long mage robe, stood in the center of the academy grounds. He found nothing to do other than to sigh as he watched these energetic people. Mage was the last job class he had wanted. And yet, he just had to become a mage. That was all thanks to a student called Ah Fa. Gouffet was a school teacher. He had accidentally overheard a few students discussing about this new online game that utilized virtual reality, and when Gouffet had inquired more about the game, Ah Fa gifted him a gaming account to get on his good side. Who knew that matters would go wrong even when backed up by good intentions? Ah Fa carelessly gave Gouffet an account that had already been set up with a name and a job class, and Gouffet only noticed this fact after he had logged in and undergone a full body scan, confirming his identity and other prerequisites for control. Because this was the first time that VR technology was implemented for MMORPG, it received unprecedented attention. The server could only handle so much at a time, so the developers resorted to limiting the distribution of accounts. Each person could only own a single one. That was why Gouffet's only choice was to be a mage if he wanted to continue playing the game. He felt like it was a pity to not play the game, as he eyed the entire set of the latest VR equipment he had bought specifically for this game. Hence, he had still ended up logging in. It was just a shame that his desire to play the game was now greatly reduced, since he could not choose his dream class. Currently, he stood at the center of the academy with no idea on what he should be doing. As he was zoning off, he suddenly noticed a few mages retreating back into the academy through the main entrance. Their robes were ripped, and they seemed to have been beaten black and blue. Gouffet saw a short, skinny figure among them and yelled out involuntarily, "Ah Fa!" That was the student. Poor in grades, bad in sports, plain appearance. He had no desirable traits other than his silver tongue. He was a nobody that nobody liked in school. It was him who provided Gufei the Mage account. Encountering him inside the game, Gufei prevented himself from charging and beating him up after much restraint, as his action was probably unintentional. Besides, he had to uphold his status of being a role model for others. Ah-Fa looked up and saw Gufei when he heard someone call him. He staggered toward Gufei and greeted, "Ah, good day to you, sir." Alright, enough. There's no need to do that. Being greeted by a student like that in a game was just too embarrassing. In fact, many players in the surroundings glanced at them out of curiosity from hearing Ah-Fa's greeting. "What happened to you?" Gasping for air, Ah-Fa said, Never thought that this would happen to me. I got beaten up as soon as I started wandering around the city." "What's your level right now?" Gufei was doubtful. He knew for a fact there was nothing like a safe zone in the game besides a spawn point. However, the game still had a feature that prevented PvP among low-level players. It was impossible for any players to engage with those who were below level 5. "I just spawned, so I hadn't even leveled up yet." "Then how did others PvP you?" "I didn't get PvP'd, I got beaten up." "Is there a difference?" "Sir, PvP uses in-game skills to reduce the HP of a player's opponent. But we're in a virtual reality game now. They just beat me up like in a regular street fight. Although my HP remains the same, it still hurts a lot." "Ooh. Even people like that in here?" "Yeah, I didn't know before that this was possible in virtual reality." Virtual reality. "Let me take a look at this." He suddenly began to make his way outside. "Wait, sir, you're a mage as well. Your base strength and vitality are no match for knights. You can't win a fight like this." Gufei smacked Ah-Fa's hand and said, "Have you forgotten? Your teacher knows Kung Fu." "Sir?" Teacher Ah-Fa stared blankly at the sight of Gufei leaving. "Teacher Gufei knows Kung Fu. That was a running joke in Yulin Middle School. Apparently even the principal laughed about this in private. What's shameless? The fact that Teacher Gufei keeps insisting he knows it is the most shameless thing I've ever seen." It was true that Gufei was a little better at jumping, a little faster than others, and a little more agile with his movement, a little stronger, but this was perfectly reasonable. He was a PE teacher, yet Gufei insisted he had been learning martial arts since he was a child, which according to him was how he obtained his body of steel. He even claimed that he had defeated countless individuals since he was young, and nobody believed it. That was because of a video that circulated on the school network of Yulin Middle School. It originated from a security camera near the school entrance, probably uploaded by someone who had nothing better to do. It was a footage of a young man beaten black and blue by an old man as he cowered on the ground without putting up a fight. "Old Man Rails Young Guy" was the title of the video. The main focus of the video was undoubtedly the old man. As for the other person, he was identified as the teacher Gufei. Was there still anyone who would believe that Gufei knew Kung Fu after an incident like this? Everyone just assumed he read too many wuxia novels and had a few loose screws. Fortunately, Gufei had no violent tendencies. He was also someone who seemed to take his job seriously, so nothing horrendous came out of it. However, right now, Ah-Fa was watching Gufei make his way out through the main entrance and turned his head to yell, "Which way?" He pointed to right, and Gufei went. Ah-Fa blanked out for a moment before snapping back to his senses, chasing after him. The game did an impressive job with the simulation, undoubtedly. The pathway paved with stone was a little hard to walk on, but Gufei advanced at a fast pace. Ah-Fa sweated profusely as he tried to catch up to Gufei, and he saw Gufei stop at the intersection. "Where are they?" "They were there just now." He pointed at the fountain right in the center of the city square. "No, sir, don't go." Don't come. I'll be right back." The back of someone in a mage robe always made players in-game feel that the player was weak. In contrast, Gufei's back radiated with an unusual sense of strength and confidence. "Shit, it's just another beating at most. Screw this. The real me won't get hurt anyway." Ah-Fa thought to himself before giving Gufei another chase. But Gufei was nowhere to be seen now. As Afa looked around while he walked, he suddenly heard some miserable cries coming from an alley nearby. Afa rushed and stuck his head out to peek. Inside the alley, 4 people in the light armor for knights clutched a scrawny man as they pummeled him. Chilling sounds of punches striking flesh rang out. The person's nose was already broken while blood covered his face and body. It was difficult to determine his job class from what he was wearing. But even if he was a warrior who possessed the toughest physique, he would not be able to resist the encirclement of 4 grown men. He was just a regular person who seemed to have no fighting experience, and as of this moment, he had already lost the will, wincing and faltering in pain as he was knocked into a corner. The 4 people beating him up had ugly and threatening appearances. It was possible to tell they were always up to no good from a single glance. Right now, they stopped beating the person as Gufei appeared in front of them. No one said a thing for a moment, but when the 4 saw that Gufei was in a mage robe, they smiled at one another knowingly. Let him go. Do you mean him? The bulkiest of the 4 lifted his leg and stamped the poor guy again. He signaled the other 3 with a glance. The 4 inched towards to surround Gufei, but they all tried to prevent from turning around and running away, yet he remained where he was, allowing the 4 men to encircle him. A gleam of surprise flashed through the eyes of the bulky man, who was obviously the group of thugs' leader, but after eyeing Gufei closely, he felt a small degree of relief. From what he saw, the fellow before him was not tall. The fitting mage robe in the game did not hide his well-proportioned body. He was in possession of a wide chest, a thin waist, and long legs, making it apparent that he was someone who was usually paid attention to exercise. His body was in fighting condition, so he could obviously put up a good fight. However, they were bound by the game's algorithm, so no matter how great somebody's body was in reality, speed, strength, vitality, and so on, it was all determined by the data of the game. He was a mage, the job class with the weakest strength and vitality. All he needed was a single punch before Gufei would end up screaming in pain for half of a day. As it seemed, he had forgotten about that fact that he was still in-game due to the well-simulated environment. Without any speeches or taunting, the leader directly commanded, "Do it!" What is Gufei playing to? I wonder. However, that's the end of the chapter, so if you want to hear more, links down below, you have to read it from there. Tell me what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will wish you all adieu. Ta-ta for now.